It's true that in early music there are a lot of things which are connected, but it's not true that all connection can be logical and possible. For example, in this video I published about the sextus modus or tonus. There is a comment by one of you, Luis Carlos Pinedo de la Rosa from Mexico. Hello, Luis. Hello, Luis. Now, the question is, Ricardo, is it a Jupiter melody at this minute? Let's see it.
Fa, mi, mi, fa, la, sol, mi, fa, re.
So, the example I'm singing is an introitus, so belonging to the Cantus Firmus tradition, and it's very old. I mean, at least if we compare the Jupiter in terms of Galant Schemata, now let's talk about the Jupiter. What is it? And this example, it's not exactly the same period. This is Cantus Firmus, and the edition is the following one. So we are in the Editio Princeps of Editio Medicea Graduale de Tempore, as you can see. Let's go to the specific example, which is here. This is my melatonin to sleep well. And we have this introitus, which is of the sextus tonus. Now, one of the most important characteristics of the sextus tonus is that we beat a lot of times the chorda Befa, ut, fa, sol, fa, la, sol, fa, mi, re, ut, fa, mi, fa, sol, fa. And even here, fa, which can be ut in bemollis, ut, re, fa, mi, but this is not a Jupiter. I mean, I agree with the fact that the notes are the same, but when we talk about Cantus Firmus, we have to talk about the species Diapente and species Diatessaron. Let's see. So here we are in the Musicus Practicus Academy. Then you can start your 24 hours free, and you have the access to, at the moment, there is the entire Renaissance path. If we go in the Cantus Firmus level, in lesson 3.3, we talk about Diatessaron and Diapente, because we study in chapter 3 all the intervals from the ancient point of view. You even have a PDF with all the material you need. Then I explain all of these things in the video. Then the third species of the Diapente is very important, because the Diatessaron, so the fourth, can have four species: the first one, the second one, and the third species of the Diatessaron. Now, the way in which all these species are combined create different scales, different diapasons. Diapente cum Diatessaron, the diapason, the octave, which is very important to identify the tonus. It's not the only element to look when we have to identify the tonus, but it's one of the most important. For example, in the lesson 4.5 of the same Cantus Firmus level, we talk about the Sextus Tonus Ecclesiasticus, which is not the Sextus Modus. This is the Sextus Tonus, and in the 12 mode system is the 12th modus. We have ut, re, fa, which is very important to identify the species, even because in the structural building of the Sextus Tonus, let's check it, we have the third species of the Diapente. Here it is, no, here, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, plus the third species of the Diatessaron, fa, mi, re, ut. From this, we can recognize the ambitus, the octave, the diapason, so the Diapente cum Diatessaron of the Sextus Tonus. Then all of this is not enough, because there are other aspects then belonging to the practice, to the sound, to the mood. The Sextus Tonus tends to have the Befa, because it tends to do not reach the highest note, Che, Sol, Fa, Ut. But since it moves from F, staying on the recite tone a la mi, re, in fact the psalm of the Sextus Tonus is Fa, Sol, La, Dixit Dominus, Domino meo, sedes ad dextris meis. Fa, Sol, La, it stays here in the lower part of the Diapente, and for this reason it reaches the Fa super La, the Be, Fa. And so sometimes in some compositions of Cantus Firmus, so Gregorian chant, we can find ut, re, fa, mi, but it does not have anything to do with the Jupiter in terms of Jupiter of Galant Schemata. This is the Jupiter of the Galant Schemata, so do, re, fa, mi. which is one of the opening patterns, one of the most interesting opening patterns belonging to the big family of the major, Fa, mi, do, re, fa, mi, or mi, re, fa, mi, sol, fa, major, Jupiter, Pastorella, and Aprile. Now, these things, this terminology comes from this book, Music in the Galant Style, this book by Robert Yerding, and who, very interesting book because it points out a new way to look at music from a more psychological point of view applied to composition. Okay, this book is quite so it's an essay, so it's a musicological book. There are a lot of examples, but there are not exercises. Here in my Departamento method, there are even exercises, say and play, as you can see, to practice with all the prototypes on the Meyer, and even Partimentini exercises to learn and develop compositional or improvisation skills based on these patterns, fa mi, for example. But at the end, they do not match. So the Jupiter in terms of Galant schemata and the Jupiter in terms of what he's talking about in that video, they are not the same thing. We can say that they have the same notes, do, re, fa, mi, yes, but they are two different elements. One is something used in the Galant period to start a speech, to start a composition. The other one is an element which is part of the building of the sextus and quintus tonus, the third species of the Diatessaron. So they have something in common, but this is not a Jupiter. It's not correct to make these relationships. Okay, they are ut, re, fa, mi if we use hexachordal solmization, but they are not the same thing. Then these are things that you can only learn and see if you know solmization, because this is the way with which the ancient musicians used to read music. So what can you do? Read Li primi albori musicali by Lorenzo Penna, a very interesting book for li principianti della musica figurata, as you can see here, so for beginners. Otherwise, go to my website here. You can find the entire course of hexachordal solmization with all the levels, so what you learn here, all the topics, the lesson, the material you can get, and you can start your 24 hours free. When you click here, there's a new page. You start your 24 hours, and only after it you can continue studying the other topics. For example, now there is entirely active the Renaissance path, so you can study solmization, then Cantus Firmus, then Cantus Figuratus, so you can learn to perform Renaissance mensural notation, tones and modes, how tones and modes works. These are complex topics. You can learn them from the original sources or from this work I made here to make all these things simple. You're curious, you want to know what's inside? Okay, go to this website. You can find all what you need to know here. Renaissance 2, Renaissance 3, Renaissance 4. You can, okay, what's inside the Cantus Figuratus? What will you learn? It's all here. It's all here. There is a video presentation. There is all what you need to know, and then start your journey. Learn solmization, learn Renaissance music. Learn Renaissance music as you have lived in the Renaissance. This is the most important thing. This works is like if you had lived in the Renaissance. This is the process you would have done if you had lived in the Renaissance. So solmization, Cantus Firmus, Cantus Figuratus, and then all the other subjects with the other levels I'll add month by month from June, because I'm working on them right now, suite and dances and other things, even of the Baroque path. So let's say hello to Luis Carlos for the interesting question, because it's very important, this question, to make clear this aspect that there are some things in common, but they are not the same thing. And you go to the page, to this page, to discover what you can learn, and then start your 24 hours here.
This is an introitus of the first irregular tones, primus tonus irregularis. This is a melody of the sextus tonus perfectus mixtus imperfectus. And this is a melody of the primus tonus perfectus commixtus imperfectus major with the seventh. In the education of the Renaissance musicus, which actually extends up to the beginning of the 19th century, after learning psalmization, Cantus Firmus was a very fundamental step. Cantus Firmus is the Gregorian chant as it was practiced in that period. But with Cantus Firmus we mean much more. We mean the study of the melodies, the 8 and 9 ecclesiastical tones, perfectus, imperfectus, authenticus, plagalis, the study of toni mixti and commixti, mixed and commixed, and also toni irregulares, irregular tones, the study of the 9 and not 8 psalm tones, the study of the effect that these tones have on our mind and in the sounding universe, and many other things that you can discover downloading the free ebook that I've prepared for you, where you can discover all the things you can learn in each chapter of this step of your initiatory journey to become a musicus practicus of the Renaissance. So don't waste your time, go to this link and get your ebook.